So, this is the Oz report for June 1st, 2025. And today is going to be a lot about the Babaroga because a lot of the market impacts that we're seeing today are because of the Babaroga, right? Before we do that, let's quickly jump into Plex and Plex adjacent items. So, let's jump into our Eve client right here. I want to start with Master.om's Cerebral Accelerators. We discussed this during the live stream a lot. So they have crashed massively, and there are different scenarios that this could happen. And we have a lot of things going on right now. We have the claim 10 plex and turn it into 7 omega, yada yada. So there's different scenarios that we played through. I still believe that the most likely reason why Master.om Cerebral accelerators are crashing is that there's a stockpile holder like possibly Kashal from the Eve Rookies organization that is just dumping a lot of them on the market. That's probably the most likely solution. But either way, Master Cerebral accelerators are crashing in price. We're at 78 million right now, which is pretty cheap. They were much cheaper last week as well. So if if you are in the market for them, I think right now, if we look at the skill point calculation, let's see here, for Master of Cerebral accelerators right now are 1,800 ISK per SP on the sell side. That makes them the go-to solution for pretty much anyone. So if you're looking at the most efficient way to gain SP, then right now at the current price, Master Cerebral accelerators are quite cheap. So consider investing in those. Skill extractors have not recovered significantly since we had the 2.2 for 1 sale. They're still very close to 400 million. This is tying up a lot of resources. So a lot of people have stockpiles here. The last sale was absolutely insane. So it might, take months or even years for this price to recover. It's similar to the Hypercores that really never recovered from the 2 for 1 sale that we saw in last October. And so, overall, these big sales come with a lot of risk, and in the end, nobody's going to be sad about trillionaires losing money. So if you're in it with me, then probably nothing to do but hold out a little bit longer, especially for the skill extractors. They are a very sought after good, and the question is just, are they going to recover quickly enough before CCP does another insane sale? And your guess is as good as mine as to whether that's going to happen. If we look at Plex current sell order price at 6.3 million, that's rather high. We saw Plex sales recently, but those were essentially just turned immediately into the Plex being used in the sales that we have going on in the New Eden store. They're some of the best sales in a long time. So CCP is continuing to drop these large discounts, not only on Plex, but also on Omega Time. And I believe the last calculation I heard was that the cheapest conversion was if you subbed for 2 years, you could get your sub price down to around $6, which is obviously very, very cheap. And that also means that there isn't a lot of Plex being dumped onto the market, and that's why we continue to have a high Plex price. The declaration of war that we saw, the war starting certainly doesn't help the price of Plex. Typically, this means that there's a lot of movement. It can go either way. It can mean that people are buying Plex to fund in-game efforts, but it can also mean that people are, buying a lot of Plex to resub old accounts that they're going to be using in the war, and so, or they're coming back, right, from inactivity. And so for CCP, this means win-win, because either way, activity is good. For us players, it means the Plex price for now remains high, and the Plex supply also remains very, very, very low. But let's talk about the Babaroga, right? So the Babaroga is the new Tech 2 Triglavian chip, right? And so the price itself is not that interesting. So this has only been on the market for a few days. But most of the large impacts that we have seen in the market this week are related to the Babaroga. And to do that, I want to show you something that I showed on stream earlier, and that is looking at a Babaroga blueprint, okay? So the Babaroga is mostly made up of the 0-point field manipulator, which is the advanced Triglavian material, which doesn't come from Abyssal Space, but comes from other Triglavian content, right? That price went, if we look at the price development, that price went from about around 100,000, 100 to 200,000 ISK, to right now, today, about 750,000. And this has gone down significantly since we started streaming, because I've been saying that this price is too high. There were times this week where prices for 0-point field manipulators hit 1.5 million. So essentially a tenfold increase on this material. The amount traded, we calculated this on stream earlier, the amount traded would be in 0-point field manipulators would allow you to build something like 400 Babarogas, which isn't insane considering the current volumes of Babarogas, but that's certainly going to come down. And so overall, definitely this market is way overheated. So the 6 billion that it currently takes in 0-point field manipulators to create a Babaroga, and that's why prices for Babarogas are around 8 to 10 billion, that is going to come down very, very, very quickly. So in the end, the Babaroga is going to probably cost you about, I don't know, 4 or 5 billion. But what that means for you is that you need to right now sell 0-point field manipulators. If you have them, they're going to come crashing down. I would also sell any Babarogas you're creating quickly, because that price is going to come down. And this also means that if you're looking to capitalize on this change, which I have seen on, for example, other tier Tech 2 Triglavian ships, which you see here, for example, people buying up Iketersas because of the shared materials with the Babaroga. This is also going to be temporary. So yes, this will increase the demand for 0-point field manipulators in the long run. Certainly. And this is going to, the price is not going to drop down to where it was before, right? But in the end, this market reaction that we're seeing right here is a little bit too extreme, right? And this is for the Iketersa. This is also for the Nurgle. Like, a lot of this is market manipulation, and it's not going to stay that way. Okay. This is just because they share the 0-point field manipulator cost. As someone says, as Artyom is saying in chat, yes, Ferrogel is also a big part of it. So if we're looking at the Babaroga makeup, then Ferrogel plays a larger role in it, in the creation of, what was it? It's called the I had it earlier. What's that material called? It's called the repelling shield emitter, all right? The repelling shield emitter is an intermediate good going into the Babaroga. It uses a lot of Ferrogel, and that has the price of Ferrogel spiking as well. We discussed that earlier on stream. So if we're looking at trending up here, Ferrogel, this is a very short-term effect because there wasn't enough ready-made Ferrogel going around to create the Babarogas. People started buying all the available Ferrogel in the market. This is not going to stay. If you have the Ferrogel, go dump it on the market. It's very easy to react. It just takes some time. So this is now just an effect of people being impatient and buying all of the parts to quickly pump out Babarogas as long as the price is inflated. but in the long run, the price of Ferrogel is going to go back down. There's no long-term effect that we're going to see on it. So Ferrogel, yes, right now, trading high intermittently, but it's going to it already has pretty much come back down to like a 40K price. Is probably going to go down to about 30, 37, 38 back when everything has evened out. We're also seeing the knock-on effect, by the way, on the other ships using these repellent shield emitters as intermediary goods. So that was the the Torrent and the whatever the other upwell hauler is. The Tech 2 upwell hauler, those also are going to be temporary, and prices will Torrent and Deluge. Thank you for a chat for letting me know. Yes, those are all intermittently expensive, but if you can hold off, so my message for you today, if you're just going about your way and playing Eve, skip all of these ships right now, skip all of these materials right now, unless you're holding them and wanting to sell them to make a buck, especially if you have 0-point field manipulators. I've been dumping them to buy orders all week. Wait a week, wait 2 weeks, all of this is going to pass. Right now, the Babaroga is for people that have way too much ISK or want to, or really, really, really want to fly it and don't care about the ISK. There's a lot of people that just, have a ton of ISK and don't care, or cash, I guess. But, it's going to be the same ship in 2 weeks. It's going to be the same Ferrogel in 2 weeks. It's going to be the same abyssal materials in 2 weeks. So this is going to be fine. Just wait a couple of weeks and all these markets are going to normalize again. Besides the Babaroga, let's see what else we wanted to talk about today. I think, kind of Babaroga related, but the Tech 1 abyssal materials, right? So 0-point condensate and crystalline isogen 10, they were also going crazy in the ramp up to this, but they already dropped a lot this week. Okay, so they're not used a lot in Tech 2 manufacturing for ships like the Babaroga, and so a little bit goes into them, but they normalize a lot quicker, and this is kind of a preview of what might happen there to the others. So this is what we're looking at on screen here is 0-point condensate, almost dropping back to normal price again. That hasn't happened with crystalline isogen, but it is starting now, and it's going to happen there as well. One thing I do want to show you, which is very interesting, is the massive impact that the Babaroga has had on the markets this week, and that's why I'm making it the key subject here. So if we look at the dashboard on theoz.space, my website, you can see that, well, first of all, the item that's trending up the most this week, over 5 billion in trade volume, is the 0-point field manipulator. It was already elevated in price, and it rose another 80% over the average price. So this is quite massive. And also things like the Zoria Supertidal and Tropic Disintegrator and the Nurgle are things that are related there. What I want to show you, though, is market volume. So let's look at highest trade volume yesterday versus average. And you can see the Babaroga is on 4th, right? After Plex, large injectors, and skill extractor. So those three are the RMT or the Plex related items that are never going to be touched. But the largest trade item yesterday, besides the three big ones, was immediately the Babaroga, and immediately followed by the 0-point field manipulator. So there was 560 billion in Babarogas traded yesterday. And if we look at last week, so highest trade volume for the week, on the right side of this dashboard, you can see that the Babaroga is already on, 7th spot with 1.3 trillion traded this week. Massive. And 0-point field manipulators are on 5th spot with almost 2 trillion ISK traded this week. And so rarely has there been a new ship introduced that has had this massive impact on the market, and that is fantastic. It's great to see that people are building it. It's great to see that people are flying it, that people are losing it, that people are destroying it. And I love seeing these types of impacts on the market. By the way, just an honorable mention there, also a trinary state processor, another abyssal material, 1 trillion traded, and another big input material for the Babaroga. So fantastic. Good to see lots of happening in EVE Online. Legion is having an impact via the Babaroga, and can't wait to see how that shakes out next week. And I'll see you guys next week. We're going to return to the regular stream. And see you soon. Bye-bye.